Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. We are looking at a really fascinating weather setup over southern India. You see, after a long dry spell, things are about to get very active because two completely different wind systems are literally on a collision course. And that leads to the big question on pretty much everyone's mind, right? Is this the end of the dry spell? Are we finally going to see some significant rain? Well, to get to the answer, we've got to dig into the science of what's happening up there in the atmosphere. So, for a while now, it's been pretty quiet weather-wise. We've had this stubborn high-pressure system just parked over central India, and that's what's been giving us all these dry conditions. But that's all about to change. And what's causing this big shift? Well, we have two major, and I mean major, atmospheric systems that are heading for a direct showdown right over the southern peninsula. And this right here is where the whole story really begins. Okay, so to really get this forecast, you've got to meet the two main characters in this whole atmospheric drama. It's their totally different personalities, so to speak, that makes this setup so interesting and so complex. So here it is, the heart of the whole event. On one side, you've got these low-level easterly winds. Think of them as the fuel. They're hugging the ground, coming in from the Bay of Bengal, just loaded with moisture. But then, coming in from above, you've got this strong western disturbance. And if the easterlies are the fuel, this thing is the spark. It's a powerful, destabilizing force. And how this fuel and spark interact, well, that's everything. All right, so we've got the moisture, and we've got the force. Now let's look at how their big crash actually creates a major rain event. This isn't just two winds bumping into each other. It's a process with some very specific results. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You have this warm, moist air down low, and then this strong, energetic system pushing in from above. At different altitudes, what on earth is the outcome? It happens in a few key steps. First, those humid easterlies bring in all the moisture. Then, the western disturbance plows in from above. Now here's the magic. When they collide, they create friction. And that friction, that's the key. It basically forces that moist air to shoot upwards really rapidly. And that powerful upward lift is what creates those thick, dense rain-making clouds. You know, this whole process actually has a technical name. It's called mid-level lift. And that term is really the engine that's going to be driving all of our weather over the next few days. If you remember one thing, remember that. It explains exactly what's going on. Okay, but here's the tricky part. Because all this rain depends on the exact angle and the exact location where these two systems clash, it makes forecasting incredibly difficult. You know, a tiny shift, just a few kilometers here or there, can mean the difference between a downpour in one place and just a drizzle next door. And you can see this uncertainty playing out perfectly when you look at the major weather models. We're witnessing a classic showdown between the two heavyweights in the forecasting world, the American GFS model and the European ECMWF model. Just look at the difference here. The American GFS model has been, well, kind of all over the place. It's been shifting its focus around, but then you look at the European ECMWF model, and it has been rock solid, consistent, showing a very similar picture for almost a week now. And in forecasting, that kind of consistency is golden. It gives us a lot more confidence that its version of events is the more likely one. Okay, so with that in mind, let's lean on that more consistent model and break down what this all means on the ground. Who's likely to get the rain, and when can we expect it? So here's the timeline we're looking at. Things should start kicking off Friday night. Then on Saturday and Sunday, the activity is really going to ramp up. We could even see some rain lingering into Monday, especially for folks in the southern parts of the state. All right, for the northern coastal belt, we're talking Chennai and its neighbors. The trend is pointing towards some decent moderate rain. But if you look at the Delta region and that coastal stretch all the way down to Thoothukudi, the signal there is much stronger. We're looking at a very consistent chance for moderate, maybe even some episodes of heavy rain. Now let's head inland. Places like Madurai and Trichy are also definitely in line for some moderate showers. Over in the Kongu belt, around Coimbatore, light to moderate rain is looking possible. And it's a pretty similar story for the hilly areas like the Nilgiris and Kodaikanal. And what about Kerala? Well, the models are actually pretty clear on this. There's a very consistent signal for moderate to maybe even heavy rain across southern Kerala. As you move into central and northern Kerala, it looks like the rain will be lighter and a lot more scattered. So as we start to put a bow on this, There's one last really fascinating piece of this puzzle that puts our whole southern forecast into a much larger perspective. Get this, that very same western disturbance that's causing all this uncertainty for us down south, well, up in North India, its path is direct, it's unobstructed, and because of that, every single weather model is in complete agreement. They are in for heavy rain and a ton of snow. And that contrast just goes to show how unique and complex our two-wind collision really is down here. And really, that's the big takeaway from all of this. The models give us a fantastic guide, of course, but the final say belongs to the atmosphere itself. The exact impact, who gets the heaviest rain and where it falls, it all comes down to that real-time interaction as these two systems finally actually meet. So, we have the players and we have the script, but as we all know, weather rarely follows a script perfectly. The stage is absolutely set for a powerful and dynamic few days. So the question is, will the skies play by the rules, or are there some surprises waiting for us in the wings? We'll just have to watch and see.